Hello everyone, my name is Tongsly, first from the fridge, and welcome back to another video showcase on Warframe. In our last video, we showcased off Wisp and pretty much a whole new gameplay using Wisp, and my first, pretty much my, first thought about, playing as Wisp. And so far, I am loving playing as Wisp. She's very good for players that likes to be a more supportive crowd-controlled caster, similar to maybe like Warframe's like Trinity. Ooh, excuse me. But today's video, we are going to be looking at the Fulmin. Now, this weapon I made sure to max it out, and I need to put in some Forma into this thing, so definitely get Forma in it as best as possible if you want to modify this weapon. I'm definitely going to. And if you want to have like the full capacity of the weapon, definitely get a mod capacity upgrade with an Organ Catalyst, so that way you can benefit from more mods for this weapon. So now that we're doing a video based on the Fulmin, let's look at the stats. Let's see. It has a semi-automatic and an fully automatic firing modes. So, semi-automatic has a 9.1 accuracy, but I kind of find that a little bit misleading, because I don't notice it being that inaccurate. It actually feels like it's 100% accurate to me. So I don't know why it's saying it has such bad accuracy. Critical chance 30%, actually really good, making this a very good crit weapon. Critical multiplier 2.2, very nice. Fall off is 10.0 to 20.0, so kind of feels like it has like the range damage capacity of a shotgun, but more of like an air-based cannon. So think of it like the Tsar, but the explosives does not hurt you. Fire rate 2.17. Decent to me with how the semi-auto fires. Magazine 60, but each shot uses up 10, if I recall. So you pretty much got a total of 6 shots. The thing automatically reloads though, which is really cool. It is silent, which is actually something that I just realized now. This thing is silent for semi-auto, and that's actually kind of amazing with this thing having the literal firepower of like the booming thunder. Reload is 1.0, so very decent reload. Riven disposition is 3 out of 5, so decently moderate. 35.3% status chance. Very, very good. So pretty much looking at both of these, in my opinion, it's leaning a little bit more towards status, but I see this pretty much as a hybrid weapon. Like, enhancing the status as well as the crits will definitely make this thing a beast. Let's see, without these mods attached, so let's look at the difference in status chance. Status chance without those mods is actually 16.0. So I am a big dummy and I forget to take off the things that boost the status. Sorry. Electricity damage 400 and impact 100. And then we have fully automatic. 111.1 accuracy. So this has apparently even more accuracy than some of the more like precise firing weapons for fully automatic. And let me actually test that. So let's take this thing off and fire. Yeah, it's definitely accurate, and every shot uses 1 energy. Like, not literal energy, it's using 1 shot. Because I didn't know if that literally went through 60 shots. Critical chance 28.0, so 2% less critical chance than the crit chance of the semi-automatic, but still very good position. Critical multiplier of 2.4, so this weapon can have a chance of being a hybrid due to the buff from the mandatory mods, as I accidentally forgot to take off. So I could see this still becoming a hybrid weapon, but leaning a lot more towards being a crit-based weapon, being that it starts out with large amounts of crits, minimum status for both of these. But it seems multi-shot actually puts up the status chance quite a lot in this. Fire rate's 9.33. The magazine is, as the top one, is 60, but it uses one shot of the magazine compared to semi-automatic using 10. Noise is alarming. So pretty much think of like when you have the barrel on, turning it into semi-automatic fire. Think of like putting a silencer on a gun. It's silencing the weapon, making it good for stealth. This is good for loud and proud, but it also has different damage stats compared to the top one, except for one of the damage types. Reload is 1.0, so still decent reload speed. Riven disposition, 3 out of 5, moderate. Status chance, 10% compared to semi-automatic, 16%, making it have 6% less status chance. And the trigger fire is automatic, so it's a full auto weapon. You got 25.0 electricity damage compared to semi-automatic's 400. And instead of impact, we have puncture at only 8.0. So this thing's puncture is tiny. But I still say it'll be rather decent to go for a build into this. So let's try going for a build. So let's first do it by putting in the mandatory mods that I was dumb enough to forget to take off of this weapon. Gonna put Amalgamation Serration, because I like Amalgam Serration better. I like the benefits Amalgam Serration gives more than regular Serration, because I like the additional sprint speed. Let's see, Split Chamber for the multi-shot. If I recall, I believe 50 to 60% multi-shot is guaranteed second bullet. If I recall from some YouTubers I've seen making videos of how multi-shots work. And of course I'll add in Vigilante Armaments, and I have a fourth bar now because of the mod that I put on Wisp. So now I have a 20% chance of critical hits from primary weapons, so I'm actually benefiting a lot. Like, I've watched a video of like how you can actually put up Vigilante Armaments very easily. So for those of you out there that don't know how to buff Vigilante Armaments the best way is to buff your Sentinel. Your Sentinel's weapons, when you equip Vigilante mods to them, can buff your Vigilante Armaments greatly, so that you can be able to give out still very good crits. So because I don't have Forma on this, pretty much this is going to be people's look and seeing how the build is going to look like without Forma. Let's see. So we got 35% status chance for that, 23% for there. I would still say I would like to enhance the status with the crits, but I'm not, like, so far this is helping enhance the crits. Especially since I do not have enough space to really fill up this thing with a complete build, because if I did, I would put on Point Strike and Vital Sense for enhancing the crits, an element combo, and then a mandatory mod. That, in my opinion, would be the best thing to do for this. So I would have to say, let's try and see what we can go for now. For people that don't have Forma to put into this like I do at the moment. So adding the Malignant Force, I already given this thing Corrosive, replacing the Electricity. Which, in my opinion, actually, electricity does not really benefit at all, really. Like, you can still use it. Like, I'm not saying not to use electricity, but with what I've done using electricity on Corpus, it does damage the MOAs and such better, yes, but a lot of like more durable robotics the Corpus have, they have armor, and corrosive is the only thing that can benefit you facing off against MOAs with armor as well as Grineer and Infested. So electricity to me is actually kind of pointless having. Now, of course, to buff corrosive, we could add even more corrosive. So why not? And you know what? I'm actually going to showcase pretty much the weapon used without mods and compare it to with mods. So let's go over here to this enemy right here. And actually, hold on. I'm going to take off my arcanes because I want to make sure that I am not benefiting from anything. So I'm taking off the arcane. This enhances melee, so that's fine. And I'm going to take off that. There we go. Alright. So, don't have any Vigilante thing on yet. This is completely stock. So, stock semi-automatic fire. Very low. Especially since it's using electricity. Has really good amount of crits though. So, it's getting some really good crit shots in there. And then fully automatic. This is going to do a little bit better at damaging than the impact, but not too much, because it is using puncture, which does more damage to armored targets. So, in total, definitely the weapon without mods is not that efficient, but without mods, this is pretty much the fire accuracy of semi-automatic. Like I said, I don't know why it's saying it's 9.0. This thing seems to be pinpoint accurate to me. But then again, it is shooting, by the looks of it, almost like sound-based projectile, like booming thunder. Has some pretty good distance on it too. So now, if we put those mods back on, as well as I'm going to put back on my build here, Vigilante Vigor. Put that on for like the shield recharge, plus the benefit of enhancing the Vigilante mod's actually nice. And this is also my build that I am using for Wisp. But that's not important right now. Right now, what's important is making this build and trying it out for all of you to enjoy with pretty much a very good build to buff this weapon out the wazoos. Yes, the wazoos. Let's see. Malignant Forest. We'll add in high voltage to enhance the crits. Not the crits, the corrosive even more. And I can't really fit anything else that I would like, because like I said, I lack Forma. I'm going to try my best to see if I can fully Forma this thing. But let's put on Argon Scope. That way we can have headshots enhance the crits. So we now have 66.2% status chance, which is pretty good. Actually, very pretty good, in my opinion. Impact went from 100 to 602.5, and electricity went from 400 to 6,025 corrosive. 46.3 status chance on fully automatic, and we have, instead of 25 electricity, we now have 386.6 corrosive, and we went from 8 to 47.9 puncture. And of course, with Argon Scope, the crit chance of this weapon is going to be majorly buffed, so let's see the difference. And I'm actually going to show the difference now with this build against two different rows of enemies. So I'm going to spawn 8 Corrupt Heavy Gunners, level 135s, and I am going to do different fire modes. I'm going to do semi on the right and fully automatic on the left, so let's see. So because this weapon's puncture, of course, compared to weapons that have puncture, the damage of the weapon is not going to do too much. But as you can see, I'm still actually taking very nice chunks out of these guys' HP with this thing's semi-automatic fire, which I actually really like about this. Like, this is literally just completely annihilating them. And this thing literally just going through ammo. Alright, and now let's try for automatic. Okay. Good thing is we don't have to worry about ammo, because this thing is pretty much like a battery weapon, so it's not going to run out of ammo. Think of it like the flux rifle. Like, using ammo, it recharges and reloads itself back up to full again after a moment. For this, it takes just 1 second. So, this build, even though I don't have Forma to buff this weapon even greater, this is pretty much a good way to showcase this weapon's build without Forma, which in my opinion I would rather at least showcase that, so that pretty much seeing this of how it's working now, you can already tell how well it's going to perform when you enhance it later with Forma to give it like enhanced crit chance and crit damage. And because it's a crit weapon, this thing could also benefit from using Hunter's Munitions. And Hunter's Munitions, for people that don't know, it's a mod right here. Let me pull this up. It's this mod right here that gives plus 30% chance to apply slash procs on critical damage, which I've actually used it on a lot of weapons. Pretty much almost every time you crit, there's a chance of getting slash proc, especially if you have multi-shot mods. You'll get a lot of slash procs pretty quickly. But it only benefits if you have crit chance with the weapon. So let's say I want to showcase Hunter Munition right now, because I want to be able to show it somehow to see like a difference in damage. So let's see what happens if I take all that stuff off. And let's say you still don't have Forma, but you want to find a way to buff the damage even more. So let's see the difference now if I use these two with Hunter's Munitions, getting rid of High Voltage and Argon Scope. Already got a slash proc. And what's good is this semi-automatic fire also has automatic punch through, because it's going through the targets. So the punch through is actually a really nice addition to this weapon. And the slash procs is doing a 929 to these guys. So pretty nice. And of course, because I don't have Argon Scope, I'm not going to get as many crits. But it's definitely a very nice peek at pretty much Hunter Munitions working with this, that it's getting some very nice slash procs. And the crit damage is still really nice on this. So now let's see about fully automatic. Yeah, like, without the Argon Scope, it's not going to benefit much at all. So, in total, a really good starting build for if you don't have Forma and you get the Fulmin. A very good starting build would have to be pretty much because you're facing Grenadier the most. And hold on, give me a second. Oi, Mama! Why? Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. My dogs, for some reason, were barking. I don't know why. But yeah, a good starting build, I would say, would be going for this if you have no Forma. And if you have Serration or Amalgam Serration, they're pretty much going to be in the same situation, because Serration maxed goes up to 14, so this is like higher by just 2 points when you max this. So yeah, like I would say good builds for if you don't have Forma would be this. You can easily get Vigilante armaments from doing bounties in the Cetus on Earth, so you can get it pretty early in game, especially if you work really hard in farming the bounties, and bounties is actually a pretty decent way of getting experience for leveling up Warframes at the start. Split Chamber is a little bit more of an expensive mod, not too expensive. I actually got this pretty quick. Argon Scope, that's what I hear is a very expensive mod, so I'm not 100% sure about like marketing in Warframe, but I hear that it's actually pretty expensive to around 100 or so plat, maybe even more than that. Malignant Force, I actually got that pretty easily by doing either Nightmare mode or pick up in like some of the later game modes and like later planets you get while experiencing through Warframe. And High Voltage, I don't know about High Voltage. It might be the same thing. Like I've gotten High Voltage in like regular game modes too, like Survival. Sometimes I've gotten it on certain worlds, Defense. So I'd say pretty much like farm around. There should be like enemies that drop these pretty decently. But other than that, that is actually the Fulmin and my build without Forma. Later on, I will definitely look into putting Forma into the weapon, so that way we can experience how the weapon works with a future build. But for right now, it's actually rather decent. It's doing a very decent amount of damage right here on these targets. The only thing I would think of that be another very good build is because the starting fire mode has impact, that means this thing can also be very good against Corpus. Especially since impact is what majorly focused on the shield. So that's another thing to take in account is like what factions will you be facing. But for having no Forma, this would be the best build, which means you'll be focusing a little bit more on facing either Infested or Grineer. Because if I, like, the only way I'd be able to put in, like, fire is if I take that off, and I don't have the 60/60 for fire in here. This is the only one I have, which is Enhance of Magazine, but it also gives the 60 heat. So, you know what? Just for this video, I'll showcase that. So right here, we got gas built with the impact and also the puncture. So let me see what happens if I use, like, this gas build against these guys. It's not going to do as much because you're supposed to use corrosive versus these guys. So, yeah, like right here, it's not going to do much really at all. It's not going to do much at all because you're supposed to use corrosive against armored targets. I'm just showcasing it pretty much to show you guys, like, if you build it for a different faction, it's not really gonna benefit you against others, because there has been some occasion that some weapons I've seen actually did really good using just gas, even against Grineer. So let's have it versus Corpus, and let's do it against Corpus Tex. And now we're gonna go over here and oh. Why are they not dead? I thought I hit to kill them. Okay, let's spawn them again. Alright. So let's see about using this. And I have one extra shot I could do with the semi-auto because of Wildfire. So let's see this. Definitely rips these guys to shreds using a gas build on these guys, and I'm doing some decent damage to all them too. That this one's already almost dead, that one's dead, and this one's close to death, and that one's dead because I killed him. So we're gonna reload them because the others are completely beyond their death threshold. And we're going to use the fully automatic now. And fire. Alright. It's not going to kill him as fast because this fire mode focuses a lot more on puncture. In fact, this guy is still alive. So, against Corpus, you're better off using semi-automatic, being that it does have the impact necessary for actually killing off these targets very quickly. Like right there. Already killing large numbers of them and proccing the gas. So right here is already like one of the best builds of getting really quick kills. So Wildfire can be a little bit probably expensive to get, so if you wanted a really good replacement for that, I would probably, instead of Wildfire, just go for Hellfire. You can easily get that very early in game. But that will have to be it for this video, pretty much. Like, it's a decent gun. I like it. Like, it has very good crit chance. And if I had Forma put into this thing so I can be able to put mods into every slot, my build that I would like is these three to stay, element combination for whatever faction you're facing, crit chance, crit damage, and then I would say Hunter Munitions to take advantage of the crits, and like to pretty much add on to true damage with the element damage, so that way you could just completely just cleave through enemies. That would be a very good build in my opinion, and sometime in the future when I get the amount of forma necessary to do that with the weapon, I will showcase it to all of you guys on my channel so that you guys can pretty much experience it with me. So with that being said, I'm actually all out of time for this video. I wanted to showcase the Fulmin rifle, which is a signature weapon for Wisp. I almost choked on saliva right there. I'm going to fix my camera, actually. So yeah, I wanted to showcase this weapon so that way we have a little bit more in-depth to seeing how this weapon stats is. We saw how it worked in the first video, but I wanted to showcase a little bit more of how the weapon works, as well as the stats and possible builds, because not everyone will have Forma off the bat to put into the weapon. So this is a good way to pretty much showcase builds you could go for like cheap mods that you can get early in game a little bit. Like Serration and Amalgam Serration are pretty much the same thing. The only difference is this adds sprint speed. So you're not going to get Amalgam Serration at the beginning. At the beginning, you're going to get like regular Serration, which is this right here. And if you do not have the multi-shots, then I could showcase like one more build actually. So let's say you don't have multi-shot. Let's put this back on. And let's showcase a build for people that do not have Amalgam Serration or multi-shot. So if anything, I would put on this. Point Strike and Vital Sense. And Hunter Munitions I actually got pretty quick of... I forgot what game mode you get it from. I believe you also get that in Cetus. Hunter Munitions drops on a certain enemy. But you know what? Since we're showing off this build, let's see a difference with this. So let's put that on. And let us spawn some corrupt heavy gunners. Alright. So, semi-automatic fire. Oh yeah, I have the Vigilante mod on still because of the mod on my Warframe. There we go. Alright, this will be the last thing I'm showing. It's just this build with easy to get early game mods. And already compared to my other build, it's still doing a lot of damage, being that I am able to put on the crit chance with Point Strike and Vital Sense on this. But multi-shot is where I mainly get a lot of damage in this. And now let's see about this. So as you see right there, if we had multi-shot, including with the element and Hunter's munitions, this would pretty much overkill. In my opinion, this would pretty much be an overkill. At least a decently slow overkill. But if I had multi-shot, it would be a lot faster. But I can't fit all that on because this is me showcasing a build without Forma. So with easy to get early mods, this is pretty much a decent way to showcase the build. The only way I could showcase it being earlier than all of this would have to be with Infected Clip, and I would put on Stormbringer, but I would not have enough space to put it on. Because I would only have one... Actually, hold on, I can. There we go. For a second, I thought I couldn't. So, without Forma, you're pretty much looking at this for being your build. Serration, Point Strike, Vital Sense, and then Infected Clip and Stormbringer, being that you're facing off against Grineer the most to begin with. And as you can see with this build, still doing decent chunks of damage, but I'm not really proccing Corrosive really at all. And same with this, except this one's proccing Corrosive a little bit better. But yeah, the damage change in this is completely downside. So I already see a perfect build for this. As I said, like, it's gonna be the Serration that I prefer, which is Amalgam Serration. Other mandatory mods to put on to really benefit this weapon would be Vigilante Armaments, Split Chamber. Well, after taking that stuff off, because can't put those on with it. High Voltage, and Malignant Force for facing off against Grineer. And because of that extra mod space, I'm going to put back on Argon Scope, because for the crits. So that's actually going to have to be it for this video right here. So that's pretty much my build showcasing the build using cheap, easy access mods compared to mods that you can get later on for like a more advanced build. I would showcase like maybe a Riven build and all that for this, but I do not know if, because the weapon just released, I don't know if it has a Riven mod yet. It probably does, but I'm not that lucky to get the Riven for it when I've already gotten rifle Rivens. There's no way I'm gonna have a chance of getting it. It's probably gonna just be like other weapons, because this weapon just got added. But yeah, so I hope you all liked this video. Leave a note in the comments, tell me what you guys think, and maybe of like ways that I could tweak the build that you guys think you would like me to showcase on my channel. And other than that, that's all I have for this video. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Um, Leave a like. Tell me what you guys think of the video in the comments down below. Look forward to my video showcasing the other two new weapons, two new sentient weapons, the new game mode, and a new assassination target that's been added to Jupiter. And as always, I will see you all in the next videos to come. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye!
It's delicious.